The vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean shimmered under a deceptively peaceful December sky in 1941. Far from the escalating conflicts tearing through Europe and Asia, the United States clung to a fragile neutrality, its people largely unaware of the storm brewing on the horizon. Yet beneath this veneer of peace, global tensions coiled tighter with each passing day. Japan, an ambitious empire, relentlessly pursued its expansionist agenda, casting a long shadow across the Pacific, while America, a sleeping giant, watched with wary eyes. At the heart of this tranquil ocean lay Pearl Harbor, a jewel in the crown of American naval power. Its sparkling waters, framed by verdant hills, housed the formidable U.S. Pacific Fleet, a symbol of strength, a bastion of peace. Here, against the backdrop of swaying palm trees and gentle ocean breezes, thousands of servicemen lived out their days, their routines punctuated by the rhythmic ebb and flow of military life, blissfully unaware of the cataclysm poised to descend upon them. Among the key figures entrusted with the fleet's safety was Admiral Husband E. Kimmel, commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet. A dedicated man, he bore the immense responsibility of safeguarding his command. Yet, he navigated a treacherous sea of incomplete intelligence, his efforts hampered by blind spots and a tragic underestimation of Japanese capabilities. His counterpart, General Walter Short, commander of the U.S. Army Hawaiian Department, focused his energies on the perceived threat of internal sabotage, his gaze fixed inland, inadvertently turning a blind eye to the skies above. Both men, motivated by a desire to protect their forces and their nation, found themselves tragically misaligned with the true danger. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, Lieutenant Commander Mitsuo Fuchida, a pilot of exceptional skill and unwavering commitment, spearheaded the Japanese attack force. Driven by a fervent belief in his mission, he was poised to deliver a decisive blow, one that he believed would secure Japan's strategic advantage and reshape the Pacific theater. Subtle tremors of impending conflict occasionally rippled through the calm. Intercepted Japanese communications, fragmented and cryptic, hinted at significant action, yet lacked the specificity needed to sound a clear alarm. At Pearl Harbor, life continued its unhurried pace. Servicemen played baseball under the Hawaiian sun, penned letters home filled with everyday musings, and engaged in casual conversations, their world far removed from the geopolitical chess game being played out across the globe. The diplomatic breakdown between the United States and Japan, a slow, agonizing unraveling, had set the stage for an inevitable confrontation, though its precise form and timing remained shrouded in uncertainty. December 6, 1941, dawned like any other Saturday. The fleet, a magnificent display of naval might, lay at anchor, a tempting, concentrated target. Beneath the tranquil surface of the Pacific, the Japanese fleet, a silent, deadly armada, sailed undetected towards Hawaii, its intentions cloaked in the vastness of the ocean. In Pearl Harbor, a false sense of security had taken root, a tragic miscalculation that would soon be shattered. The men slept dreaming of home, of loved ones, of the simple pleasures of life, their vulnerability stark against the backdrop of the approaching dawn. Then, from the flagship of Fuchida's aircraft carrier, a chilling, cryptic order pierced the pre-dawn silence, relayed across the vast expanse of the ocean, a signal understood only by those on the precipice of war. Climb Mount Nitaka 1208. The attack was on. Below, the American sailors slumbered, utterly oblivious to the fate that awaited them, to the morning that would forever alter the course of history. The serenity of the Hawaiian morning on December 7, 1941, was brutally shattered at precisely 7:55 a.m. The first wave of Japanese planes, a swarm of death from the sky, descended upon Pearl Harbor. The initial shock was absolute, a sudden, incomprehensible assault on a peaceful Sunday. The air, once filled with the gentle lapping of waves and the distant sounds of reveille, now screamed with the roar of dive bombers and the concussive blasts of explosions. Men, jolted from sleep, stumbled onto decks, their eyes wide with disbelief, their minds struggling to process the horrifying reality unfolding before them. Confusion reigned supreme. Was this an exercise? A tragic accident? The answers came in the form of torpedoes slicing through the water, bombs tearing through steel, and the sickening screams of comrades caught in the inferno. Smoke and fire began to paint the sky, transforming the tranquil harbor into a scene of unimaginable chaos. Anti-aircraft guns, initially silent, sputtered to life, their rounds tracing fiery arcs against the rapidly darkening horizon, a desperate, futile attempt to swat away the relentless attackers. Amidst the maelstrom, individual acts of heroism and sacrifice shone like beacons in the gloom. Sailors, without a moment's hesitation, plunged into burning oil slicks to pull injured shipmates from the grip of death. Below deck, engineers fought valiantly to contain flooding, their faces streaked with soot and fear, driven by an instinct to save their vessels and their friends. Doctors and nurses, their training kicking in despite the terror, began tending to the wounded, their makeshift aid stations overflowing with the maimed and dying. The USS Arizona, a majestic battleship, erupted in a catastrophic explosion, taking over 1,000 souls with her in a matter of seconds. Planes, lined up wing to wing on airfields, were destroyed before they could even take off, their pilots trapped in a fiery demise. The immediate devastation was staggering, a brutal testament to the ferocity and precision of the attack. Fear mingled with despair, but beneath it all, a fierce primal determination began to harden within the surviving men. Admiral Kimmel and General Short, receiving the first frantic, disjointed reports, were plunged into an abyss of horror. The catastrophic failure of intelligence, the tragic misplacement of defensive priorities, became agonizingly clear. The crushing weight of responsibility descended upon them, a burden heavier than any they had ever known. From their respective command centers, they watched, helpless, as their commands were systematically annihilated. Their desperate attempts to organize a counter-response amidst the chaos were met with the harsh realities of communication breakdowns, destroyed infrastructure, and an enemy that seemingly held all the cards. The sheer audacity and effectiveness of the Japanese assault left them reeling, their careers and indeed their lives forever marred by the events of this single horrific morning. High above, Lieutenant Commander Mitsuo Fuchida surveyed the unfolding devastation with a complex mix of exhilaration and something akin to awe. The success of the first wave was undeniable, a clear, decisive victory beyond even their most optimistic projections. For a fleeting moment, perhaps, a shadow of reflection crossed his mind, a brief acknowledgement of the human cost, the sheer scale of the destruction. But such thoughts were quickly suppressed, subsumed by the overwhelming tide of duty and the triumphant cries of his fellow pilots. The mission was paramount, the strategic objective achieved. As the first wave withdrew, a brief deceptive lull settled over the harbor. But any lingering hope that this might be a minor skirmish, an isolated incident, was brutally extinguished. Suddenly, the sky darkened once more. The chilling message, echoing across the radio waves from the returning Japanese planes, confirmed the coordinated and devastating nature of the assault. Tora! 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 Tiger! 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 Complete surprise achieved. The second wave, equally relentless, equally deadly, descended, dispelling any remaining doubt. Pearl Harbor was not merely under attack. It was being systematically dismantled, its heart ripped out in broad daylight. The inferno raged, and the United States, once an observer, was now a participant, irrevocably dragged into the greatest conflict the world had ever known. The sun, once a harbinger of a peaceful Sunday, now illuminated a scene of unimaginable destruction at Pearl Harbor. Smoke billowed into the Hawaiian sky, a dark shroud over the crippled battleships and the oil-slicked waters. The grim task of rescue and recovery began immediately, a desperate race against time to pull survivors from the wreckage and identify the fallen. Every sailor, every civilian became part of a somber, determined effort, their faces streaked with soot and tears. The casualty count climbed steadily, a horrifying tally of over 400 lives lost, with thousands more wounded. 8 battleships were damaged, 4 of them sunk, alongside numerous other vessels and hundreds of aircraft. It was a statistic that would forever be etched into the American consciousness, a wound that would take years to heal. Across the ocean in Washington, D.C., the news hit with the force of a physical blow. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, his face etched with gravity, addressed a stunned nation and a shocked world. His voice, steady yet resonant with indignation, declared December 7, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. This single powerful speech, delivered amidst the raw grief and outrage, galvanized a nation that had long clung to the hope of neutrality. The attack on Pearl Harbor obliterated any remaining isolationist sentiment, transforming a divided populace into a unified force. The very next day, Congress, with near-unanimous consent, declared war on the Empire of Japan, pulling the United States irrevocably into the maelstrom of World War II. For Admiral Husband E. Kimmel and General Walter Short, the consequences were swift and devastating. Within days, they were relieved of their commands, becoming the immediate scapegoats for the disaster. Their long and distinguished careers ended in public disgrace, their reputations forever tarnished by the events of that Sunday morning. Despite their genuine efforts to prepare for war within the constraints of limited intelligence and prevailing strategic doctrines, the burden of command in such a catastrophic failure was too immense. The debate surrounding their culpability, whether they were truly negligent or merely victims of circumstance and systemic intelligence failures, would rage for decades, a testament to the enduring tragedy of their fate. The legacy of Pearl Harbor, however, extended far beyond the immediate aftermath and the personal tragedies of its commanders. It served as a brutal, unforgettable lesson, igniting a transformation of the United States military unlike any seen before. The nation embarked on a rapid and unprecedented expansion and mobilization effort, turning its vast industrial might towards the war machine. The memory of December 7, 1941, fueled an unwavering resolve, a determination to fight for freedom and avenge the fallen. The long and arduous road to victory in the Pacific, culminating in Japan's eventual surrender, was paved with the sacrifices made at Pearl Harbor. Ultimately, the attack, though devastating in its immediate impact, became an unlikely catalyst. It jolted a powerful yet hesitant nation from its isolationist stance, compelling it to embrace its role as a global leader. The ultimate sacrifice of those lost at Pearl Harbor, the destruction wrought upon the fleet, paradoxically forged a stronger, more unified America. It forever altered the course of history, not just for the United States, but for the entire world, demonstrating that even from the ashes of unimaginable destruction, a phoenix of resilience and determination can rise, ready to shape a new future.